Hello and welcome to the Lunar Review. I'm Vanessa, I'm your host, and today I'm going to be focusing on the sun. On June 21st, the sun moves into Cancer, and that is the solstice, which is the longest day of the year. So we have the most sunlight pouring onto this good earth, and it is the longest the longest day of the entire year. So in general, this is a very optimistic, it's a fertile time, it's warm and tender, and there is abundance. All the flowers are out, the trees all have their leaves at this point, there's lots of animals abound, and the deep dark winter with all its hardships, it's over, it's long past, and we have the whole summer basically to look forward to. So this is very safe ground for Cancer to really feel and explore all of her emotions. She wants to feel the whole array of emotions. She is a feminine sign, she's yin, she's very patient and caring and nurturing. She's extremely creative and she is very intuitive. With summer, we also associate summer with being a very joyful season, and this is because while the kids are off from school, there's often travel plans, there's music festivals and parties, and there is just a sense of wanting to be together. The weather's good, the weather's warm, and there is just a joy in connecting with other people when it's the summer season. But wait a second, because this all sounds great, but on June 22nd and June 23rd, basically as soon as the sun enters Cancer, the sun is going to be squaring two different planets. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The first one is on June 22nd, and this is the sun is going to square the planet Saturn. So, as mentioned, the sun is our raison d'etre. It is our reason to be. It's the way we express our uniqueness in this world. It's how we make a big splash. It's how we're seen in pure light without anything obscuring us. No light, no shadows. It is a very fundamental part of who we are. So, Sun in Cancer loves to relate through the emotions, just sees the world and interprets the world through an emotional lens. And it's a strength because ordinary experiences, ordinary relationships can take on a whole nother depth, level, and nuance because when these powerful emotions enter the picture, it changes things. However, for Cancer right now, Sun in Cancer, expressing these caring and deeply felt rich emotions and being able to actually, express them is a very risky proposition right now because the sun is square to Saturn in Aries. And Saturn in Aries is, can be very impatient, edgy, and a little self-absorbed. The quality of Aries, the zodiac sign, is that he is masculine in nature. He is a yang sign. So that means he is domineering, aggressive, very action-oriented, and he's really quick. This is a sign that moves fast, like lightning fast. And Aries is much more interested in initiating things and starting things rather than completing them. And this is the first sign of the zodiac. So Aries is brave enough or crazy enough to pop into this world, to be the first to face the unknown and to face it with a courage and a fearlessness and this ability to take responsibility as a leader. So then we compare this to the energy of Saturn. And Saturn, his archetypal energy it's slow, he's old, he represents old things, he represents time and matter. And he is extremely mature and very responsible. And he's also taken the time to completely master a skill or a talent. He is so disciplined, he's able to put the hard work in every day and hammer out the details and make sure that he really thoroughly masters something. So there is a bit of an incompatibility when Aries is in Saturn because Aries is a cardinal sign and just wants to do something. It's not even about completing something. It's about getting the party started, being the pioneer or innovating and doing something, but maybe not being the one to to complete it. And Saturn is actually asking us to complete something and to put off self-gratification or instant gratification in an effort to do it, to be able to work hard and be disciplined and build your muscles up. So with Saturn in Aries, we are really going to be forced to mature over a certain area, that there's going to be some frustration, possibly because attempts at achieving our goals, it's not going to work. Maybe there's some cracks in our process. Maybe we're not being thorough. Maybe we're being too hasty. And Saturn is really going to force us to look at the issues that are where we are immature and where we need growth. And of course that can hurt. That can wound the ego to know that the path that we're on is not the proper one. So at this time, you might even be questioning the validity of your own emotions. You might be assigning them more or less significance than they really deserve. Saturn wants us to be bigger, better, smarter, and, a master in our own right, but without the shortcuts. So he's going to throw up obstacles where he thinks that we need them, where we are trying to take the shortcut and take the easy way out and bend and break the rules. Saturn is saying, no, that is not happening. I know how much you want to achieve the goal, but you still have to abide by these certain rules. So coming to terms with this realization can be, naturally, it can be disturbing or emotionally upsetting, and it might force us to scramble and try and fix some of the foundations that our lives rest upon. So, however, a square implies a lot of tension, and the sun is squaring Saturn right now. So there is just so much energy that it's good in a way, or very good, because this can cause a breakthrough, that there's so much pressure with these two planets that there will be action. So this is the nature of the square, is that it's difficult, it's challenging, but that it is the impetus, it's the fuel to actually take action and change something. There could also be a sense of vulnerability here, or a lot of criticism coming from some authority figure, because Saturn represents the authority figures. There could be frustration and anger, and there could just be these limiting factors keeping you from what you really want. Responsibilities could feel very heavy. They could feel like a burden right now, and they could be really weighing and hard for us to take up the challenge of throwing off these burdens. So I would say to be mindful of this, but also to be careful of being too critical or overbearing to someone who is subordinate to you. Like, you don't want to be the one who is being too much of a harsh taskmaster. You have to someone who is underneath you in the power structure, that you want to just keep your equilibrium and treat people with fairness. Treat them so they progress, but do it fairly and justly. So how well can you handle things when they're not running smoothly? This is a big question for this transit right now. Will pessimism win out? The sun lives with just a burning desire to sparkle and illuminate, and it is a really big test from Saturn when you have all your avenues and roads that lead to joy and prosperity. When those avenues are overrun with obstacles, it can be overwhelming. So at this point, can you use your doubt, or even your pessimism or your questioning? Can you use this to repair your life and fix things, or are you going to give into it and give up? However, on this day, as we also have a little bit of help with a sextile between Jupiter and Mars. So a sextile is a harmonious aspect. It means there's some sort of opportunity to better your life, that you just need to look for it and take the opportunity, but it's there. So we have Mars, which is our vitality, it's our energy, it's how we basically survive each day. He compels us into action. Very action-oriented planet. So we have Jupiter, and Jupiter is a giant planet, very benefic, very generous and giving, and Jupiter is constantly steering us toward the path of joy and optimism and learning. So with this, yeah, you can expect a little bit of a boost of your vitality, of your energy and your optimism. So where you feel this little burst of enthusiasm and optimism, I would say whatever it's for, go for it and follow it, because this is just a one little opportunity that you have for the day to really kind of take the edge off of this Saturn square Sun transit. On June 23rd, we have got the Sun squaring Neptune. So here we go with another square. And a square is always a tense aspect. That's the nature of the square. So we have got the Sun, our vitality. It's this just unchangeable aspect of our essence. And so it is in conflict with Neptune. And Neptune is the planet of dreams and meditation and delusion and fantasy, bliss, spiritual matters, and the concept of universal love. So this can all lead to a big, big desire to escape. So you might really want to indulge in vices that kind of numb you out or bring you to another state of bliss, another brownie, another glass of wine, whatever it is. If it feels good, that's the state you're going to want to be in and probably chase after. So you might have more imagination right now. However, you might be more prone to delusional thinking. So there could be a lot of room for disappointment. The dream and the reality don't quite mesh. There could be a big disconnect between what you thought was real and what is actually going on. So you could be very sensitive to your own moods and your own wounds and emotions, and that might take center stage. That might take precedence over any other worldly or practical concerns that you have going on at the time. And you might be tempted to over-idealize an idea or a philosophy or some political thought or even a relationship. You might it might be overblown and you might idealize it. And in fact, these ideas that you have might actually just be impractical or inappropriate or just too filled with fantasy. So this is definitely a warning for right now that being like too naive or gullible at this time, it can actually harm you. So you really have to check yourself. Make sure what you're doing and seeing is what you think it is. The planet Neptune is known for obscuring the truth. So this can be done in absolutely beautiful ways that we don't mind being distracted by sometimes, because it just helps take our mind off of some harsh realities. Because Neptune is a planet that really wants to see unity and cohesion amongst all of humanity. And really the only way to do that is to turn a blind eye to something you don't like sometimes, or sometimes you agree to something just to keep the peace and harmony within the group. But if you wear these rose-colored glasses for too long, then that's when things can rot and fester and get moldy and turn septic, and then everybody's screwed. So right now there's just I would say a warning, just to watch out for deception, or maybe something is unclear or there's something being hidden. And this could be, in regard to a relationship or a business dealing or an idea, a project you have. It could be anything. But yeah, just to be aware that there might be some hidden truths out there, and discovering them could be chaotic, and that no matter how maybe demoralized or demeaned or shocked you are, to keep a certain introspection so that you can take this truth and integrate it into your life and just make your life better. So I would say in general, with the Sun in Cancer and these transits that I've been talking to, a big thing is to trust your own intuition. Intuition just flourishes in the sign of Cancer. It can really deepen. So that means not only your intuition, but your psychic senses. You could be very sensitive, and this could be an absolute, boon of knowledge and wisdom coming through. So to just stay open and to be careful of extreme emotions coming from yourself or from other people, just to use your psychic antenna in basically the best way. And that when you do feel over emotional, just know that, or keep the knowledge that, okay, my perception is definitely skewed right now and it's highly emotional, and feel it out. Don't repress it, but just know that there is a little voice of reason in the back of your head, whether it's loud or quiet, but that it's there, that your emotions do not have to absolutely carry you away and bring you to a course of action that you later regret. Just to take a breath, become grounded, and just make sure what you believe or what you think is actually the truth. So don't, I guess this is a long-winded way of saying, don't just completely act out on your raw, passionate emotion, no matter how strong they are. This is a good time for being very artistic and creative. I don't know, maybe write a poem or do an interpretive dance or take a walk, but do something just to kind of calm yourself and ground yourself before taking any strong action based on your emotions. Well, as always, I hope that everybody enjoys these transits and gets the most out of them. And with that being said, I will sign off and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.